And yeah, of course, the problem of this right now is that we immediately lost. Wow, that is an awesome looking black jacket. Holy crap. I mean, I'm looking at a completely ready to use in-game asset. Well, maybe I would remove this. Like this right now is like, I would totally put it in the game. Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and welcome to John version 4 development. So this is the main character for the horror game I'm working on, and today I want to start customizing John. At the moment, he's pretty much a default metahuman, so if we look at this right side, this is what I imported from Unreal Engine 5. I brought it in right here to have the skeleton, have all the weights showing up, so if we look at the weight paint of the Smash, we can see all of the mapping of how bones affect the mesh. Also, it looks very glitchy. I hope it will work out. My plan is to give it a try at actually transferring all these weight paints as vertex data to my new meshes automatically, with, of course, a bunch of adjustments after that. But overall, the main goal of this video is to get the model of John the way we want him to be. So the last video was the review of RevaPoint 3D scanner, and there I got this jacket scan ready, as well as one of my boots. And these will be applied to the character as like just the base to work from. After that, I will do a bunch of sculpting, adjustments, color corrections, and maybe complete retexturing in many ways. Like, I don't need many of these details, like this weird stuff or orange heels right here. Like, none of that is gonna be on John in the end, but definitely all of this is a very good base to work from. And yeah, I actually decided to go with this particular scan when I'm standing with my hands down, because I think it will be a really good base with proper wrinkles for everything. Like, it just looks a lot more believable in this shape. But yeah, generally what I'll start doing here is I'll start breaking this sculpt apart, putting it in a proper position to fit John here, and pretty much replace this hoodie with the jacket, and yeah, then work as well on the models of the boots, which, by the way, in the last video I made a scan of them, and it looks like this, which looks pretty polished. And I think for just a boot of the character, it's quite a high detail. With certain cleanup and removing of unnecessary details, it will look really cool. But what I discovered recently, like, I decided to go through the whole cleanup process in RevaScan software right here, and this is the result I got. The difference in this scan is that I haven't applied any kind of smoothing either on the point cloud stage or on the mesh stage. So in the end, I got a little bit more of the bumpy noise, but also, like, if you look at this zipper right here, it's way better defined, and like these laces as well, they look very believable, and like with extra definition of like their bumps, it looks so much better, like way more definition on tiny details everywhere. And since I got this result, like if we compare to the previous version, this one, look, is just like butter. It's way smoother. It doesn't have as many glitches, like no bumps at all, so it's a lot more consistent and generally, you know, production ready. Maybe one would argue it's better for that, but we're definitely losing a lot of details here, especially on the zipper right here is pretty much gone, when this is a completely different story. Like, this is so much better. Overall, this is a way better base to start sculpting from. This kind of bumps I'll be able to easily, you know, modify, smooth out here and there, and some of them I would even leave because this is just, you know, dirt texture. It looks pretty good for that. The game is in the forest, so I think it's reasonable for sure. And yeah, putting the whole thing together here and seeing how we can apply it to the rig of John version 3 right here to get our John version 4 ready in Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, that's the plan. And making this plan work will be a lot easier thanks to this video sponsor Skillshare, which is this awesome online learning community for creative people, which involves a huge variety of directions you can take, be it animation, film and video creation, illustration, music, photography, UX design, anything creative you have in mind, Skillshare has you covered. And personally, I'm all over this course right now, Learner's Guide to 3D Character Creation Volume 1. This is another part from the same series that I watched before about using Substance Painter for character creation creation made by Sean Fowler, and previously I really liked the way he created hair cards using actual renderings of three-dimensional hair strands using ZBrush. And in this course I find it very useful how Sean is approaching the design of the hairstyle by using curves and actually building up the shape of the hairstyle using separate pieces of meshes like this, which gives great control over the design development as well as gives you the understanding of how to transform this design later into the hair cards. So now I have the full strategy on how to make hair for John in the nearest future. And really you can go as niche as you like. Here's some results for Blender sculpting. A lot of high quality courses, beginner to pro, wherever you stand, you will find something beneficial here. So if you're interested in Skillshare, there's a link in the video description. The first 500 people to click the link will get 1 month of free trial of Skillshare. Alright, let's start. I have my trusty drawing tablet with me now. It's actually not mine, it's Nadia's. But yeah, I thought I'd need it to sculpt some stuff around, but not right now. It will be soon. But the first thing we do is we replace the hoodie. I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna do it. So we need to adjust my height to John's height. Almost done. So one thing about this model is that it has a bunch of holes. I think I covered most of them, like closed most of the holes, like this hole in the head. But this bottom one is too complex to quickly automatically close it. And one thing to note about Blender is that it sucks at working with a lot of polygons. Like, let me just select something and like move it around. Like, that's how slow it is. And in terms of like searching for holes or something, it's even slower than that. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead right now and remove all the details that are not John's outfit and simply my body. And now I'll do this one thing that I was really missing in Revascan, so I wasn't able to do it, is being able to select a certain amount of polygons and then like grow the selection. There it is, Control Num plus. So yeah, let's just delete this group of polygons. Yeah, especially in situations like this where you can select one polygon and just... Oh yeah, there it is. This is right now, this is super slow. I tapped Control plus many times and it's like still doing it. That's how I usually check if something's frozen in Blender, hovering around this navigation thingy. There it is. So yeah, we just increased our selection several times. Now I'll decrease it a bit and we can just easily delete this part. In Revascan it's harder to do because it's easy to select a completely separate piece of polygons. Like if there wouldn't be a connection in here, you would be able to easily select all the small islands of polygons. But when it's even a little bit connected, which is a frequent occurrence, you can't just quickly select it, and it's like really hard to do it generally. F for fill. So yeah, at this point, I'm just removing everything that's absolutely not useful, like that's not John and that's it. Like I'll delete my home pants and my hands. Yeah, I'll just do it from a side like this. I think I'll be able to select a lot of good stuff. And I think we can do some increasement. Oh my god. Well, yeah, I probably don't want to touch that. I think I can safely select this right now because the front is only higher. Alright, whatever this is, let's remove that as well. Man, I've been trying many different sculpting apps lately, and I gotta say, Blender is the only one out of the recent ones I tried that actually, like, when you hold shift in the vertex painting mode, you're actually blurring the vertex colors instead of like blurring the geometry, which is what for some reason all the sculpting apps tend to do. So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, as I'm looking at this jacket from a side, like, what color should I keep here, considering there's contrast lighting in here and everything? Really, I should just grab this color and just, you know, that's how you should work with this. And after that, you cover it with cloth textures and everything, and still doesn't really have that in this vertex color capture that I did. So yeah, I'm like covering the whole jacket with its base color a little bit, like semi-transparently, just to remove weird jumps in colors and really like, there's no real value in all these lights and shadows all over the place, like reflections almost. That's what material in real time is gonna be showing to us. Except for this little thing right here. But again, like all of this is just bases. I will really need to work on it more in Substance Painter and all. But generally, I feel like I'm improving things a lot by removing deep shadows from everywhere. They're not useful, especially considering I'm gonna raise the arms very soon. I'm really happy that I imported the mesh in vertex color. First of all, because texture, like actual photo colors, if you would project those, Ravascan still needs to improve their game in that. As well as like one of the biggest problems of capturing color in the 3D scan is that when you walk around the object taking the scan, you're blocking the light behind you as you're standing there. So a lot of the times, like maybe this shadow was just cast by Nadia as she was standing there, and that's it. Like you tend to mess up the lighting yourself. It's kind of hard to capture colors well. Evening all of that out and making it like very consistent, I feel like it's a very hard thing to do automatically, so it's probably not reasonable to expect that really. But with this vertex color, first of all, it's usually a lot more consistent in colors. I don't know why it tends to choose better things and project them in a much more subtle way than when it's using actual photos projection. Like these colors are captured from the point cloud as far as I understand. It's just the points have colors on them and those colors are then projected on the resulting mesh. It's like good enough. It's a great base to have everything in place. And like really for a good model, you still need to like retexturize it mostly. Or maybe not, you know, if it's like a very secondary object, just a part of the environment. It looks like very photorealistic and everything, you know, not very sharp, but it's fine, kinda. But yeah, I'm not going for like completely covering the whole jacket with one flat color. I'm like keeping this realistic dirt in place. I think it's a good idea. Considering this whole thing is like a very indie project, you know, why not keep some cool photorealistic details where they are naturally right now? So yeah, after this very little cleanup, I will go ahead and position the jacket into the right pose, because this is not going far if I don't do that. And I'll need to do that in the edit mode, because sculpting doesn't really do that kind of stuff. Generally, it's like not an easy operation to do, so we should get to it. So I'm just gonna use some kind of dark gray color on the metal areas. It's not gonna look as realistic here, but when we apply an actual metallic material to these, it will look better. Like all of this will probably be changed so much, but I should keep the basic ground truth intact, because I'm still not sure how exactly it's gonna go. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to close this hole right now, but like you select the area where you know the hole is, and then you hit F. And there you have it. Maybe not, that looks very weird. So we can like guide it a little bit, I guess. And by that I mean we could select, let's say, this edge right here and this edge right here, and just hit, I think, Shift B. Yeah, now we have this bridge in here, and it even draws a nice gradient between the two vertex colors. Awesome. But yeah, now this will be one thing to cover like one of the holes, and this will be another one, and maybe we should do it a bit more. What I found very hard to work with is like when you have a very messy, you know, basic sculpt, because, you know, there's a lot of areas that we didn't work through all that much and all, so it was weird with a lot of stuff. Also some holes, like the hoodie is not actually captured well at all, but because of that it sort of makes it really hard to start sculpting. Like one thing you do when you start sculpting is like you smooth out the details that you don't need, for instance, but you can't smooth out a hole, or you can't smooth out when there's a bunch of like floating little bits hovering around the shape or like this kind of stuff. This is something I tried to smooth out, but it just won't smooth out because this is not the kind of shape that you can just simply do that with. So one thing I think I'll eventually need to do is I'll need to remesh the whole thing. But to do a good job remeshing, you need to close holes. And you need to close them so the volume of the sculpt wouldn't be super compromised. Honestly, like, this is already something I could work with. Let's close this hole right here as well. So yeah, I feel like getting to the point where you just work with one solid shape with no open holes at all, it's best to do it as fast as possible and then do whatever the hell you want with it. So yeah, what's funny is if I would close these holes in Reviscan, it would be so easy. Reviscan has a feature where you can close all of the holes and is doing a way better job than what Blender did even at the top there. And it wouldn't stop from closing the bottom area in here as well. And I, for whatever reason, thought that I'll have more control and do a better job of this in Blender. Like, not at all. Definitely, if you are planning to keep working on this mesh as a sculpt, like sculpt away into whatever you want, definitely close all of the holes before exporting. This is gonna save you a lot of time. Like, I'm still wasting time here on this pretty much. Cool. So this is pretty much what I needed it to do right now. The only thing is right now I'll need to like do a huge operation of separating the arms and putting them in this position, and that will be a mess probably. Well, that's doing it, I would say. Actually, I see not a lot of problem with this. I will then, in sculpt mode or something, I will cut out this part in here and it will be all good. And also, it's a good idea that I'm making these adjustments right now before, you know, doing the sculpting in terms of like any remeshing, because with the remeshing I'll immediately lose all the vertex color, and it would be great to keep the limbs in the proximity of the final result, so with arms actually positioned in this location. Are my arms like 2 times longer than John's? What the hell? Like, some difference in the size I would definitely understand, but this is a lot. Like, also, my arm is more of a straight in here, when John's arms are like very bent, so that's a big difference too. And that's something we can do right now in sculpt mode, kind of. So, honestly, this is such a crazy thing to do. Like, clearly I would benefit from a much more adapted scan. Like, this is a great, you know, experience to have, to be a lot wiser next time. Meaning you will value way more, like, just going a little bit of an extra mile to get a much cleaner and way more adapted scan. And that's it, you know? I wouldn't have to waste my time on all of this. But at the same time, as I mentioned, like, I do actually value a lot the fact that the wrinkles we do get to preserve here, they will be the wrinkles of like the arms lowered down. And I think the character will mostly be walking around with the arms down, so it's like a very realistic looking scan that way. Alright, so that's one arm. The rest of the work we'll do after the remesh. Let's do the other arm. Kind of believable, I would say, as a flying squirrel man. Okay, we can lower the upper plane of the shoulders a little bit. I wonder if I can use like a symmetry mode in this situation. I kind of can, and I think I'll get to use it a lot. Okay, cool. Now I want to just select a bunch of polygons in the armpits and just get rid of them. Oh, and it's actually gonna be pretty sharp, right? Oh, let's do the same thing here. Oh my god. Yeah, let's start with faces then. Oh god. Back to square one with that one. Jesus. What does sculpt do if I smooth it out? Something kind of weird. I mean, it looks nicer, but that doesn't help. Alright, it did close the holes. Oh no, not all of them. So yeah, what I end up doing now is, after I closed this giant hole, it was a complete mess, and now I can just, if I will find any points at the very edges like this, any 2 points, and just hit C, and I like connect them. Oh no, that was so not an edge point. And yeah, it creates a connecting line nicely there. But overall, like, I'm just trying to have some kind of decent volume of the mesh at all. So when I remesh this, the remeshing wouldn't cause too much of an issues, because it probably will. And when you remesh something, you kind of want to do it once and not have anything messed up anymore, because things go crazy. You just lose details more and more with each remesh. So yeah, that immediately makes the armpit gap much better. Very satisfying, actually. And yeah, in here we kind of lose the volume, so let's connect these 2 points, I guess. You can almost not even notice any problem. So yeah, I guess this is a great thing to start with. Next, I will go ahead and try to remesh it. By remeshing it, I mean, you know, voxel remeshing, no fancy stuff. So I duplicated the mesh right now because we still want to have these colors preserved for later. Right now, I'll apply like a modifier of remesh. And now we can go for much like higher precisions without being worried about some kind of holes showing up, because we literally have none. Boom, looks pretty good. Like, this is a very dense mesh, of course, but you just don't want to lose any detail we still have. And yeah, of course, the problem of this right now is that we immediately lost. Wow, that is an awesome looking black jacket, holy crap. To make it clear, I actually wanted to change the color of the jacket. I'm not like using straight up just my jacket in the game. It should be yellow, actually, not orange. I keep forgetting to mention it, like closer to this selection color maybe? But damn, that matte black is looking dope. Look at that serious man, is he an FBI agent? I don't know. Big yellow letters on the back? That would do it. But yeah, now since we have a hell of a spread of polygons all over the mesh, we can really get going with sculpting the heck out of it and doing exactly what we want. Like, armpits are the most complex part here still, but like all of this now is just a matter of smoothing it out and sculpting it into a proper shape. And yeah, one important thing, so right now as I'm doing this, I'm planning to get to like a good shape, right? And after that, we still don't really have like a... For instance, when John will be running, I want to animate the hood so it would be like jumping up and down a little bit. So it needs to be like a real fold. And right now, like, there's nothing under this. This is just like a statue, right? So inside, there's no extra surface. This is John's neck right there, but there's no actual fold. So I will do it. I will make that happen when I'll do the actual remeshing, like the true topology for the game, like with the proper topology. So that one will have a fold in here. Also, all these folds and the edges of the color here will look good. This will be a decent fold in there. The metallic parts will be like separate objects, so everything will be nice and clean. As much as I want it to be, you know, I don't want to overdo the work since this is an indie game and everything, but, you know, certain things can be done. And interesting how this final remeshing stage will be a hell of a important stage for actually getting the model to the level where it needs to be. I wonder if I'll be able to somehow utilize like bits of other scans. I was thinking, like, for instance, this flap over this pocket right here, I could grab this part from that other scan of the jacket I did where it was just hanging on the coat hanger, because it's way higher definition there. Maybe it can work, you know, for certain details could definitely work out very decently. I should try Blender 4. What if they made it faster? Because right now it's even opening the project very slowly. Okay. Jesus, fixing this one little problem here was so long. like it took forever because of how slow Blender is in edit mode when there's a lot of polygons. Alright, so this is really usable now. Now, one thing before I will stop for today, I want to show you guys how to recover the vertex colors, and I'm actually interested myself in how it will turn out to be, because it's not gonna be great. I mean, vertex color is not amazing to begin with, not very detailed. But what we can do is we can have both of our jackets in here, like this. And we select the new one and we apply data transfer modifier. And in here, what's interesting, we don't go into vertex data. I think we go into face corner data, which is strange to me, but that was where it should be. So colors, and then I drop this older jacket, and it will probably more or less decently project, like literally in the proximity in space, it will find all the vertex colors and apply them to the new jacket. The only thing is we need to create the data layer, meaning there's no vertex group right now that's called col for color. So we hit this button and I assume it will like create it and it will be there. Boom. Okay, now let's hide the old jacket, and with our new geometry we get all the colors back. Cool. So this actually worked. Again, not that we need these colors all that much, honestly, but that's how you can actually still have them. So yeah, data transfer is actually a very powerful modifier that I will also be using to project like weight paints from like this hoodie onto the jacket, so it would bend the same way the hoodie did. So yeah, this is the progress for today. I'm paying like a decent amount of attention to the jacket, of course, because it's like the thing that you see a lot in front of you all the time. With boots, I'll probably go a lot faster than that. I will go ahead and like immediately start doing the real retopology for this mesh. Then I'll maybe remove these things from here so they wouldn't cause this mess, and then I would just project all of these details onto just one solid boot. That will pretty much be it. Like, I won't be going crazy about the boots. Okay, this was a very crazy morning. I already had like 4 doses of coffee and discovered something really cool, but let me start from the beginning. First of all, I didn't touch anything else except for the boot. Like, this is the new version of the boot that I imported, and like, this is just straight up immediately looking so much better. So generating normal maps from this is gonna be so much better. Even this like noisy area, I did address it a little bit, so you can notice it's not as intense of a like a rectangle it used to be. It's a bit like softer. Also, I think I slightly sculpted already to smooth it out, so it's a little bit better in that regard. But overall, it kind of looks like the material, like this slight fiber thing going on the surface of the mesh. Like a huge upgrade. This is an insanely better definition of everything, so I'll be super happy working with this now. Removing stuff and projecting the geometry, like this will make a very good normal map right away. I don't think I'll have to touch anything else, especially considering this is just a boot. So that's one cool update I got, but there's another cool update, and it is right here. I captured this with my phone. This I captured yesterday, these 2 guys I captured today. All of this done while I was walking my dog, real quick. Like, I swear to God, it's so fast. The app is called Polycam, not sponsored or anything. I'm just, I used to like it before, but never maybe looked into it as much as I should have. Now, to make it clear right away, if we just go into like geometry, pure geometry, this is like nowhere near the level of detail that we just saw on my boot. Clearly, like, it's not as well defined, but maybe, who knows, if I would take a lot more close-up pictures, maybe it would increase the definition by a ton, easily. Because overall, it's still hella impressive, considering like this tree stump right here took about almost exactly 100 photos. And most importantly, while the quality of the output is great, it's a huge deal how easy it is to use the app. because it has this automatic mode of taking pictures where you just feeling a certain haptic feedback as you move the camera around as it's taking pictures. Not time-based, but distance-based. So I just move a little bit away from the previous point and it's taking a picture. So it's such a useful mode to work with. Most other photogrammetry apps on phones, they just have like you have to tap yourself. And one important thing why I'm so excited is comparing to the Miraco 3D scanner, this thing is the photogrammetry tool, and it means it has no issues whatsoever with scanning outdoors. As I mentioned in my review, Miraco has some kind of issues with overexposing the data that's coming to the infrared sensors, probably because of a lot of the stray infrared light coming from the skylight or sunlight. So it doesn't seem to work very well there. So it's best to use it like during the sunset or something where there's a lot less of the environment light. So that's one limitation I have on Miraco. And another limitation is that generally taking photo textures is very inconsistent. Like maybe the software is still not there yet. Hopefully future update will improve it. But overall, I tend to rely on this like vertex color baking. This is vertex color. Like if I would use a photo projection, it would be a complete mess in here. For some reason, it has a very hard time projecting actual photo textures here. Not to mention that photos are much noisier and like lower quality because it's like, it's not a Pixel phone camera. It's whatever they put in there is not that impressive of a camera. And here I'm taking this photogrammetry scan with my Pixel 3a and it provides incredible textures. Like they're so high quality. I mean, I'm looking at a completely ready to use in-game asset. Well, maybe I would remove this this thing right here, but other than that, this is a perfectly ready to use in-game asset, especially if you consider nanite. The level of precision it gets with very thin details here, this is really cool. But most importantly, what's making me also excited is that right now, I think I can go ahead and take another scan of my boot with my phone. It will be very low detail in terms of geometry, so nowhere near this level of definition, but it will have really good photo textures. And I think I can pretty consistently project textures from one object onto another. I should definitely give it a try. Like, I'll have like the best boots on this guy ever comparing to the jacket or anything else. I'm just so excited to give it a try. If we can get like really good photo textures on our very high poly scans right here, that would be like combining the best of both worlds. And I would get like serious quality here. So that's the plan at the moment. That's what I'm going to be doing. So on to the next report. Okay. Alright, so I made a scan of my boot with Polycam right now, and like, what the hell is going on? Like, the quality of this is insane. Like, first of all, of course, I'm very happy that we get really good photo texture. Like, it's a really good texture with the like the crappy lighting I could do to have it like 360. So whatever happened in that regard, but I think I can flatten out a lot of things just in Substance Painter or something. But overall, like, this is very high quality texture. Right now, this is the raw model, so the highest quality, and here it is in like with the rendering certain lighting. I mean, keep in mind, raw models export without normals. There's no normal map. There's only color and geometry. And I mean, this is the level of detail it captured. It almost kind of looks like each individual part of this zipper is also 3D, but that's not true. Right here you can see how it's definitely flat, especially if we look at the topology like this. I'm in the Windows 11 3D viewer. Yeah, there's definitely not enough definition on that, but generally most of the things are here. So let's have a look at it in Blender, but overall, holy crap. Of course, like the Miraco scan is way higher quality, that's no doubt about that. Like, this is completely different level, but it also has a bunch of issues. Like, whenever there's reflective metal, like these parts are very crumbled, But at the same time, like, the level of detail, like the fact that it can see the holes in there, right? Like these holes, this is like way beyond the Polycam fidelity, so this is way higher. I feel like maybe, like, of course, the 3D scanner is a professional tool. It's not just giving you more power, it also requires more skill and knowledge about how to use it. So one can see how maybe knowing better next time I would do better scans for like whatever that would mean, you know? But anyway, right now I want to import the raw scan from Polycam. So yeah, here it is. Here's our honestly fantastic texture. Like, this is such a good texture. As just a texture capturing tool alone, this is insanely good. Like, this is such a high quality, amazing. So yeah, I'm just trying to bring it as close as possible. I think this is about it. I'm gonna apply scale, and that's it. I didn't do the bottom of the shoe, like a little bit from this side. Couldn't really get a good angle on that side, but I feel like the original vertex color in the Miraco scan will totally do. I just realized I don't need to transfer color to the precise sculpt. I just need to transfer like this color and this normal information, like bake a normal map, onto the low poly version of the boot. That's it, like it's done if I just do that. Let's give it a try with quad remesher. Let's make something like very low poly, 1000. It is just a boot after all. Honestly, I don't expect it to give me the result that I'll be happy with right now. I mean, this is way too detailed. This is gonna be a rigged mesh. It has to be much lower than this, of course. But again, maybe for the LOD 0, not really. Like, this is too insane. Alright, this is actually way better. I mean, of course, I recommend doing proper topology, but I'm not gonna. Honestly, I think this area should really be much more ready to be bent. I think this is ready to be bent, if you think about it. So this should be more or less fine. I will use like shrink wrap to get it closer to the shape. Alright, a little bit of adaptation. Now let's do like a quick UV unwrap. I'm just going right in. Just decided to project the Miraco scan onto this low poly mesh and see what happens. Like, do we get any decent normals this way? Alright, is this okay? Because I know sometimes this is okay. Yep, looks fine. Like, it looks a little bit overly flat in terms of like these things. Of course. that is looking awesome. But yeah, I'll probably just overall remove all of these details, and like even if I project them, because there is nothing good if I would clean the 3D model, I can just clean the normal map. Oh yeah, this is very detailed. Like, a lot less of a problem, all the mess that I had in my scan right now than what it used to be. Oh yeah, even at the heel, all the details are here. So yeah, this is looking dope so far. Let's try and somehow project a color texture. If I'll figure out how to do it. I think I did it before. So there won't be actual help for me. Like, I was using this JBake plugin that streamlines the normal map projection. But in here, we need to do it in more of a manual mode. And so in order to do that, we use Cycles Renderer, Bake, diffuse, and only color. And now we need to select it to active, right? So selected to active, this guy. As far as I know, just go ahead and hit bake. All right, it seems like it's here. Something weird happened here a little bit, but I mean, Jesus. This is so cool. I wonder how much will it be like, you know, aligned with the normal map. Yeah, not so much, right? Interesting. So, yeah, certain things are very off actually. Well, one way to go about it is to somehow realign it before baking. I mean, it would be way easier if I would do both scans with Polycam and with Miraco in the same day, so the boot would definitely have the same shape. Because right now, it's not even just not the same shape, meaning like I put the socks inside differently and stuff like that. But also, I like chipped the tip of the boot in between these days, like it's a different boot now. Really like feels like I could just use some kind of liquefy, right, to move one thing to another, but I can't think of a tool to actually do something like that here. The front of the boot is like completely in sync, like it's perfect, like it's so close to ideal. Even this zipper right here is just in place. Everything is in place, a little bit in here, but that really I can just paint over it, no problem. And like this is like the only big misalignment here, like this is a bit off together with these guys. And I mean texture paint, I don't think it actually has that. So yeah, I'm not sure this is gonna work out. But yeah, right here I'm easily using like an eyedropper, or like actually in this case like a clone tool will definitely do its job well to erase certain unwanted details on the normal map. Okay, so I painted my way into a little bit less noticeable mess in terms of unsynchronized color and normal. And as I was doing it, I realized I really should have just moved the texturized model, the Polycam model, into the proper place. So maybe I'll just go ahead and do that now, because it will literally provide an even better result. Like this right now is like, I would totally put it in the game. Seems pretty decent. The only thing is, of course, we'll need to lighten up this part. But let's see, let me just quickly duplicate our texture boot. And I'm not sure, like, texture boot should be aligned to, like, the sculpt boot. Let's say we would be working that way. So these two guys, it's, like, not exactly easy to work with that. Okay, the color boot is the one I'm going to be sculpting. So I wanted liquefy, literally sculpt with grab brush is what liquefy is. It was something I was doing originally, but I should have finished the job, like really align things well. We also would benefit from not showing texture, yeah, on the sculpt, so I would see exactly who's who. So here I am, literally liquefying things in place. Would be cool to be able to show certain things transparently, like this, literally. Oh yeah, this is funny how it feels like, oh, you know, this is, I don't need to go super precise, it doesn't matter, I'll do it in the next stage. Then you do the next stage and you realize, oh, it was so good to do it in the previous stage. Like this kind of knowledge. Same thing with like 3D scans, like, oh, I could have spent just a few more minutes taking a little bit more photos at this angle and I wouldn't spend half an hour right now cleaning this up or something. Like, you really, like, this is what you need experience for. This is so crazy that I have like a proper mode for transparency and everything else that actually works to my benefit in this weird thing. Never even thought about something like this, like aligning photo texture model with the high geometry detail model using sculpt and like this X-ray view mode. Sometimes it's like really hard to see either one or the other. So satisfying to be able to just move colors like this, like stretch them in place a little bit. Exactly what this place needs. I think I can make like one of the objects, like any object I want, I can make it wireframe looking, right? So it would just always be that. I was just thinking maybe this is like a more productive way to go about it. Oh my god, will I get to even align these guys? I didn't even notice this was an option. Because this is like a different time. I didn't retie the laces, but still they're the soft thing. I didn't retie them because I'm just using the zipper. Yeah, I think I'm finding this view more useful. Cool, I'm like aligning even individual bits of the zipper here pretty easily. Alright, so let's go ahead and see how it projects this time around. Cautiously excited. I think it's gonna be pretty good. Legit, like the kind of workflow I never had any clue existed, like that you can be doing something like this. Alright. I mean, a little bit of the misalignment I can see in here, but it's like subtle. It's more like generally the geometry is making it confused a little bit maybe. So yeah, in this regard right here, I would definitely just go ahead and paint it in like this, because even like the seam is kind of in the right place. Well, except for here maybe. I would copy it somewhat like this. Something strange happened here a little bit. Like this still dragged upwards for some reason. I did most certainly move it in here in the sculpt mode, but it didn't improve much. Maybe that's because I did a mistake just because I was in that X-ray mode and wasn't the best. But in here, yeah, whenever I was looking at it in that final view with the wireframe, it worked way better. Okay then, this is it for just adapting the scan. I will probably not even add these hanging things, no one's gonna see it, I think. All depends on how exactly I'll make the pants go around the boots, but I think they're just gonna be like over the boot and that's it. So yeah, some texture work, color correction, lighting, flattening thing is due in Substance Painter or maybe in Photoshop really. And yeah, aside from that, we have ourselves this cool thing. A bit too shiny, even 0.5 is looking just fine. Okay, cool. So we got ourselves almost a ready jacket and like completely game ready boots. Like this is really good. For a third-person game, feet, I think the topology is just right. If anything, I may like remove, of course, a lot of the geometry inside here. Maybe, maybe not. Like it's not something crazy necessarily here. May tone it down a bit. Depends on what I will decide with the pants, like some kind of adjustments maybe. But overall, these I think are pretty good. Like if we bend them a little bit, like the benditure is gonna work here, and that's pretty much all I need from the boots. I think is gonna be pretty decent. As I said, we'll most likely remove the orange patch on the heels. Maybe I'll actually keep them light. I'm not sure. It depends on what the jacket will be. Maybe both the jacket and the boots will be overall like just more of a yellow color. But we'll see about that in the future. I think it's time to end this episode here. This was a hell of a experience and like new stuff I learned about like how to make more amazing scans for the environment, how to get fantastic color textures for any model. And we also tried and not failed to combine a very high poly sculpt with a very good photo texture onto a single low poly mesh. I think this was a tremendous success. What do you guys think? I feel absolute triumph. This is so cool. Oh yeah, look at that messy, beautiful, realistic normal map. Gorgeous. And the texture is absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to see the whole thing in Unreal Engine. But yeah, for now, this is it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye! Man, this jacket will be a hell of a thing to do in terms of retopology. Like, I won't be able to deal with it this easily as I did with the boots, like with just basic shape. I hope Quad Remesher will help me a little bit, but generally it's definitely worth spending some time around the color, the hood, and preparing separate things for all of this, like a separate geometry, so it would feel nice and real. But yeah, I think it's gonna be cool if I don't mess it up.